In this silence, baby, let me in. Go easy, hold me, baby.
There was only you and me. We were young and wild and free.
Go easy, hold me, baby.
We've been down that road before, but that's over now.
Baby.
Welcome in, everyone. I appreciate you checking out my first episode of the year. I will be releasing one of these a month for the remainder of 2023. And this has been a long time coming. I've been thinking about starting a podcast. I wouldn't even call it a podcast. I would just call it a conversation, an ongoing conversation about different topics that I think people will be engaged with. I think they're mentally tasking in a good way, challenging. And so this episode is called Moral Outrage, Empathy, and Living in an Authentic Society. So I'm pretty sure everyone's aware of the events that took place on Monday, January 2nd, in a Monday Night Football game. It was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills, in which safety Damar Hamlin was injured. And later we have found out that it was cardiac arrest, and his heartbeat was resuscitated on the field. And so that's kind of what stemmed all my thoughts from this topic. And there was several things that I learned over this past week. One being moral outrage. There was so much Twitter fighting. There was even fighting on local radios that I listen to here in Kansas City. I saw arguments even between people that I know over text message. There was arguments on national television post-game. Everything in between, it seemed like, everywhere you turned. And it seemed so odd for a moment that was truly frightening and scary for an NFL player, and all of the reaction of the teammates and the coaches just to see their faces and their tears on the field. It was truly, that's never happened before, where someone has gone out like that and then been revived, literally. There was a player that had passed away for the Lions, Charles Hughes, and that was due to a heart attack. That's been the only player to, unfortunately, have that event take place. But the topic of this is more of just about the response to everything. Now that it's been a week later, we're obviously getting great news, even more great news today, that Damar was released from the hospital, and he's obviously still being under supervision, but he has since FaceTimed into practices and meetings with the team, and even they had some great introductory ceremonies for all the past NFL games this weekend. And the Bills had a really cool kickoff return for a touchdown, if you know anything about sports, for their first play back. So that was a really, really, really cool moment. I totally got chills from it. But part of with all that being said, the whole conversation around this one event, because I had been throwing around starting a podcast, I didn't know what I was going to do. But since last Monday night, when that topic hit, it just seemed to, of course, struck the nation, and so many people that didn't even know about sports or were involved were commenting and sharing their thoughts. And it was just crazy to me. And then after a while, I realized, you know what? It's actually not so crazy. There's so much division and fighting, and because this has all been brewing for a while, in my opinion. Political fighting, race fighting, it just would be, it's honestly par for the course for a society that seems so immature in how we respond to things, in my opinion. And there's a unique part of this, which has kind of exposed some people to be a little bit sanctimonious in ways and trying to gain clout, in my opinion, and honestly get recognition in the wrong way by using Damar Hamlin's injury. And there's just a few examples. Again, this is stuff I just want to share with you guys. And if you want to comment and stuff and shoot me a message as well, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But let me just read you a couple tweets. One was from Ryan Clark. He's a He's a player for the Steelers. Used to play for the Steelers, I should say. And he has an amazing story about how his injury and everything like that. So he has a ton of credibility. It's just in the title here, you can read it. It's like an authentic society. These are just feelings that I have in response to everyone else's response. He tweeted out, and this was the night of the injury, I believe, or the next day. He says, "The next snap of a football will be one of the scariest snaps we have ever watched." Now, again, Damar Hamlin's situation has never happened. There's never been a situation where a player has had to be resuscitated and his heartbeat revived on the field. So let's just speak mathematically here. The probability that the back-to-back plays would end in something like that or be the most scary, very low statistical chance, right? Considering the 100 years of football. So again, maybe Ryan Clark's saying that out of fear. I don't know. I think I know what he means. I think the players may be like on edge just a little bit. That first snap, which actually now recording this, it was the Chiefs-Raiders game, was the first snap. And there was definitely some like, oh, did that guy hit that guy too hard for a little bit? But I'm just saying, this is on Twitter, and he has a big audience. Not likely that the next snap would be very scary, considering this is the reason it's such big news is because it is such a rare event. There's another guy, I won't say his name, but I follow him, and he has some great content. He involved himself in the situation by saying he was emotionally drained and he couldn't do a live stream. I get it. I have empathy. I understand, but he was a football player on a nationally broadcasted TV that we don't know him. We don't know his family. It was horrible to see that situation happen. But just to involve yourself, this is just the sanctimonious part that I'm talking about, that I feel like is a little bit disingenuous. And then another gentleman that I know pretty well posted a picture of him and his brother, and he was just like, "Hey, hold your loved ones tighter today, because you never know, how much time you get on this ball of mud." That was the night of the situation. And you might be thinking, Alex, you sound a little cold-hearted. And I know it may appear that way, but I can still care about Damar Hamlin and his family enough that I don't have to involve myself in the situation. That doesn't make me less or more of a good person than you. I just think inappropriately inserting yourself on social media, especially when you want other eyeballs to view your post or get followers or engage, I just think it shows our society to be a little bit immature in how we respond to situations. And this isn't even to count all the fighting, people talking about the NFL logistics. What are they going to do? How are they going to seed things? And all the questions that people were genuinely curious by, especially one of First Things First, or on Fox Sports 1, Undisputed co-host, Skip Bayless, about how he was questioning the logistics. But at the very end of his tweet, he says, "But it seems so irrelevant right now." People had an outrage to cancel him, and he's a nationally known host on a sports show, and people couldn't even read the end of his tweet. It speaks to an immature society, in my opinion. Now, most of these responses I truly believe to be people acting off a true, genuine heart. Like, I think it's coming from the right place, but it just goes to show you, we're a week removed from the event. If everyone just paused the brakes, literally pray if you want to pray, and just wish the best for them, and then we could wait for good news. I just think that's appropriate. The point I'm really trying to make is, I think when watching all of this happen in real time, on the day of and this past week, I think the biggest feeling that I got, that those moments where people made themselves visible to the public when they would make a statement about Damar or insert themselves, in my opinion, I thought inappropriately. It reminded me of high school a lot of the times when we had either a classmate or someone close to us pass away where the whole school knew them. And I remember even a couple instances where I would see other people that I know had zero relationship with this individual post a very emotional post. And you could tell a lot of my close friend groups that were asking the same question, like, did so-and-so even know the individual that had passed away? And so I think that seemed a little bit disrespectful to the deceased individual and their family. And that's kind of the similar feelings. I don't know if you guys have had that situation happen, but that's how I felt when all this was happening. I was like, can't we just take a step back, realize that we're all connected through football? That's the only reason we even saw his injury on the field happen, right? Can we admit that? And also talk about football because we all love it and care about it, and we want him to get healthier and better, and thank God he is today now. Look like he's progressing on a perfect track. But no, tons and tons of claims of all you care about is the NFL, this is how sad it is, we're just turn and burn, we're just on to the next. And that wasn't the case. We're at the end of the season. It was such an insane event. We also didn't know the status of his health. And here we are. And so I really don't want to beat a dead horse. I truly just wanted to get on here. And like I said, these podcasts will be 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max going forward. And I just really want to dive in with you guys, have you guys comment, message me. But anyways, these three topics, moral outrage, empathy, and living in an authentic society. I think this Damar Hamlin injury really hit all three for me, and it was just very interesting to see how people responded, reacted to each other, were scared to say stuff because they didn't want to come across as insensitive. And I truly think over the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years, it's truly stemmed from our society being scared to interact with one another, fear of hurting someone's feelings, fear of being too truthful or too honest. And I get it. There's a time and a place for everything. And that's just truly what I experience. I'm just trying to relay objective, I guess it's subjective, but in my opinion, objective facts to you guys. But it is truly my subjective experience. And these are just some thoughts. I thought maybe as a society we could do a little bit better in response to this event. You know, even there was a gentleman on ESPN, Dan Orlovsky, that did like a live prayer. Like the second he got done doing it, there was fighting. There was Christians fighting Christians saying, nope, you're not supposed to pray in public like that. Yes, you are. Then there was non-Christians fighting with non-Christians, you know, going, hey, I don't believe in this. He doesn't need to be saying this stuff on TV. It's trying to glorify him. And then some other person saying, no, it's no big deal. People can say what they want. It was just fighting all around, everywhere. It does boggle my mind what makes people get into arguments and what doesn't. And truly, I just want to end with this, that overall, I hope as individuals and as a society that we can have big moments as a country and sort through them in just a better and more mature way, which there was a ton of outpouring support for Damar Hamlin in the situation and tons of caring people. I do not doubt that. I just doubt our ability right now as a society to maturely handle things and go forward. So that's just a concern of mine. It's just something I observed. And again, this is episode 1, Thoughts with Al. Hope you guys share, subscribe, do all the cool things, and hopefully catch you on the next episode.
Baby, you're all that I want.
So go easy on me.
Baby, you're all that I want.
Let me in, baby.
Baby, you're all that I want.
So go easy on me.
Baby, you're all that I want. We're in heaven.
On me. of you still cross my mind, even when I'm working. Take a moment, press rewind. Were you really worth it? So far gone, I'm hard to find. Late night texts are worthless. Cry yourself to sleep at night. I think you deserve it. When I used to want you.